the crawler, the teacher, the entity speech, Bob. I think it's pretty clear that Dead by Daylight has a lot of mysteries, some of them very obscure and others more known. But I think out of all the current mysteries in the game, this one is by far the most well known out of all of them. And for me personally, the hardest mystery to find answers to. Today, we're not going to be talking about the mysterious golden toolboxes. Today, we're going to tackle the mystery of the third way of escaping the trial. Let's begin from where it all started, the birth of this rumor. Unlike most of the mysteries on this channel, this began in one of the countless developer streams that Behavior used to do frequently in the past, and for some reason they simply stopped one day. After talking about bug fixes, balance issues of the game, and questions about the lore, one developer claimed something very big and serious, something so outlandish that it shocked everyone. The developers have programmed a third way of escaping the trial, and nobody has found it for 5 years. The community was in shock. Teams were made in order to search for the answer of this mystery. Steam discussions, DVD forums, Reddit, Twitter, basically everywhere. Turns out, this did not happen at all. What do I mean by this? I tried many times already. I have watched countless developer streams and I have discovered some of the craziest stuff I have never seen before. One of them is the hillbilly early concept picture that I showed in one of my videos. I have been searching for almost a month now and I cannot find the official developer source of this anywhere. Now think about it for a second. The third way to escape the trial is one of the biggest mysteries this game would have by far. This would mean that, at minimum, some groups of people after hearing about this will make videos about it, posts, or even a simple tweet. My problem with all of this is that this is not the case. No matter how many times I tried, I cannot find anything older than September 25th, 2021. This would mean, at least for me, that before this date, nobody talked about this undiscovered mystery ever. And again, it's really hard for me to believe that the entity speech mystery had entire Steam groups dedicated for it, but no one has groups dedicated to find about the third way to escape the trial? That sounds really crazy. So where did this mystery even come from? Well, the answer is pretty simple actually. Any of the posts that talk about it, any of the tweets, basically every single topic that talks about the third way to escape comes from the same place. The 10 minutes of useless information that AZHYMOVS made and uploaded on the 25th of September 2021. On minute 1:52 of that exact video, you can see that he talks about this topic and that's it. So let me ask you a question, the viewer. Did you learn about this from this video or did you watch a developer stream talking about it? Now, am I claiming that he made up the mystery? Not at all. I have asked many people that are knowledgeable about this topic, even AZHYMOVS himself, and they all claim that it was said on a developer stream. However, I simply cannot find it. It's not there, it's no developer stream I have watched. Have the developers said that there is a third way to escape the trial and it's actually programmed in the game and nobody has found it. So at this point of the video, I have decided to split it into two parts. On the first part of the video, we're going to be talking about my theory that this mystery never existed on the first place, and it's all a misconception, and I will provide evidence for it. On the second part of the video, I will simply assume that developers did say that there is a third way of escaping the trial, and I will show you a theory I had that could be a step closer on solving this mystery, because I found a glitch so game-breaking, it makes survivors stop existing from the trial. So let's begin with the first part of the video, proving that this mystery is not real. Let me preface this part by saying something clear. I could not find the source for this claim in any developer stream at all, but I am not claiming that AZHYMOVS or any of the people claiming that it was said on a developer stream are wrong. In fact, the developers have stated that there is or was a third way of escaping the trial, and in fact, they have said this 3 times in different ways, but it's not what you think. The first ever time a developer has talked about a different means of escaping the trial is on October 28, 2016 on a developer stream where they talked about the prototype of this game and the early concept of Dead by Daylight. The developer stream is really interesting to watch, but the key thing here is this exact part where they talk about the exit gates.
Exits, they were procedurally placed. So in this one we had a door. I mean, like, over the course of prototyping we had 3 different types of exit gate. Each one, we settled on the one we did finally for just what we thought would be the simplest for everyone to play. But this one was the same. You do the generators, you had to do the switch that would open the gate. But here you had a switch on the right there. You can cut it. It doesn't go anywhere now, this video. But that switch on the right would let you reclose the gate behind you.
Ooh,
so
that's
people
devious.
could stand there and open and close the gate. It brought some interesting new Wraith gameplay where the invisible killer could...
As you can see on this stream, Ash said that there are 3 types of exit gates coded in this version of the game, but they did not say that the exit gates are in the game, nor have they said that nobody has found them. Why is this bit so important? Well, this exact footage that you are watching is the same one that was mentioned on the 10 minutes of useless information video, which, by the way, I strongly recommend you guys watch it because it's one of the most interesting videos I have ever seen. But going back on topic, it is very possible that people confuse this wording and simply claim that there's a third way to escape. After all, this would not be the first time a video game has a fake rumor that is actually based on reality. The second time a third way was ever mentioned by an official developer of Dead by Daylight is by Mcote himself, but outside of an official developer stream. As you may know, the King is one of the most popular folk whisperers of DBD, and he has had the pleasure of interviewing Mcote himself various times. On one of the interviews, Mcote dropped the biggest ever information about a cancel feature on Dead by Daylight. I will let you listen to it yourselves. And huge thanks, by the way, for the King for making this type of video even possible.
I think no, and this is how I'll answer it. Like, a long time ago, we had thought of doing like a super complicated secret thing where you could potentially kill a killer or something like that. Like a really weird, fucking impossible to do sequence of events that would lead you to be able as a survivor to do something and kill a killer, and then maybe ascend and become a killer yourself. But that would entail removing that survivor to transform them into a killer, and vice versa. If we were to redeem a killer and turn them into a survivor, then we'd have to remove the killer version of them, and we don't want to remove characters.
Well, as you just heard, the developers did think about a secret ending where you kill the killer and become a killer yourself, something very similar to the secret ending in the Friday the 13th video game. A super secret, basically. This type of stuff is the type of things you would find in old school video games, like a super secret convoluted way of finishing the game, second true ending, stuff like that. Now, some people could have heard about this and thought that this secret is in the game, but nobody has ever found it. But according to the source itself, they planned for it, but it's never coming to the game. The final mention of a third way to escape is a bit tricky, to be honest, and it's something that a lot of people might remember. It's as recent as the release of the Resident Evil chapter. During the hype period of this DLC, each developer shared their insights about the DLC and how proud they are to work on it. One of the comments that stood out the most for me was Dave Richards' comment, where he said the next phrase: "We are excited to be working with the legendary studio Capcom to create this new Dead by Daylight chapter. It is an honor and an absolute joy to welcome the original survivor horror game Resident Evil in the entity's universe. The result is fantastic and will surprise new players and veterans alike. Players can expect a chapter packed with iconic content and novel ways to sacrifice or survive, inspired by the renowned franchise." Now take a notice at how he says at the end, novel ways to sacrifice or survive. What do you understand from that phrase? Well, some of the people understood that this is a reference to the third way of escaping the trial, and that's where the rumor began for some people. However, I personally think the reality is simpler. Basically, what Dave Richards meant is that on a gameplay perspective, escaping the Nemesis or playing as him is a different way to sacrifice or survive. It was not meant to be a completely new gameplay mechanic, but instead just the feeling of playing new content. So that covers all the times the developers have said something related to the third way of escaping the trial. As you may see, based on these wordings used on the live streams, it is clear that some people that have a wild imagination might think how there's a third way of escaping the trial. After all, the game has very obscure mysteries like the golden toolboxes, some of which are so hard to encounter it took months for the community to find them. Combine this fact with the AZHYMOVS video, one of the best content creators by far with an amazing video that most of you probably have already watched, and it's clear how this rumor began spreading like wildfire. I have seen that myself. After making these videos, more of you guys talk about some topics I have never seen before, like the explosive hunter's hatchets, or about topics like the teacher. So my final conclusion as to this part of this video is that no, the third way to escape the trial is a misconception, a fake rumor spread in the community like a fact because of a misunderstanding of the developer's words. But what if I was in the wrong? What if they did say this in fact, and someone proves this to me on my Discord server? Which, by the way, I totally recommend you guys to check out. It's full of friendly people and you can ask me or the community anything you want, but just ignore the Morbius memes. Link in the description down below. And this is where the second part of the video begins. Let's put everything I said before on the trash. Forget about it. Now, I am going to prove how the third way of escaping the trial might exist, and how a bug could be the potential step closer to solving it. It is clear that there are a lot of mysteries in DBD that have not been solved to this day. One of them is the encoded message from the entity that has all the means to be solved, but nobody was able to for 5 years. Besides, if you know the lore of the game, these kinds of things also fit. Did you know that the hatch was made by Vigo, a past survivor in the world of Dead by Daylight? This means that it was not the entity who gave survivors the chance to escape through the hatch. It was man-made as a survivor. What ways does a survivor have to escape a trial nowadays? Well, let's look at it from a lore standpoint first. The first way is to escape from the exit gates, the most simple exit, the most common one, and also one of the true ways to escape and survive. In gameplay perspective, this means for a survivor to go to the exit gate border where the game will detect a survivor has passed, and thus it gives the survivor the status of escaped. It is not necessary to even escape from inside the trial. If you somehow escape out of bounds of the map and go to the exit, it will still count as an escape. No need to even do the generators. So in a programming sense, this means that there is an event on the border of the exit gate that triggers the escape sequence. Now the second way of escaping the trial is interacting with the hatch. In a lore standpoint, the survivor goes below the trial and escapes the match. The killer can close the hatch and a survivor can open the hatch with a key. As for a programming standpoint, this would mean that interacting with this hatch that can spawn anywhere would mean that it would trigger the escape sequence for the survivor. It is only exclusively when you interact with the hatch, not by glitching under the floor of the game, so these two escapes are already different. One is an event trigger zone, the other is an action trigger. So where would this third way of escaping be? We have the exit gates, on the same plane as the survivor. We have the hatch, which goes down. What if the third way of escaping the trial had something to do with the sky, going up? Think about it. Whenever a survivor is sacrificed, their soul and the entity goes up in the sky and then it vanishes. A survivor, of course, is sacrificed that way. But what if there was a way for a survivor to escape the trial using an elevator or something similar that would ascend them to the next match? The problem is that, wouldn't data miners already know this? Wouldn't hackers already know this either? All of the files of Dead by Daylight are easily accessible at any point in time. All you require is a computer. An elevator model will be discovered by now, or a line in the code that proves that this trigger exists. But what if this third way of escaping the trial is not programmed completely into the game? What if they simply gave up on it because nobody would find it, or they simply didn't want to waste their resources on it? Well, I don't know the answer to that, but let me show you a glitch that will let you completely vanish as a survivor, one of the most game-breaking glitches I've ever seen on Dead by Daylight. If you like my videos, you probably already watched my Out of Bounds Dead by Daylight exploration video, where I used Sky Billy to escape the bounds of the trial and explore the beautiful outsides of the maps that are very hard to see from inside. Well, if you remember the final part, I explored Ivy of Crows with a survivor. How did I escape? Well, let me introduce you a glitch from 2017 called Space Hag. Hey guys, MintSkull editing here from the future. Just wanted to warn you that the footage that is coming when I'm playing as a survivor and performing this glitch is extremely flashy, like the screen shakes a lot, it can give motion problems to people, so be careful if you wanna do it yourself. Just remember that there's super fast flashing. If you do it as a killer, there's no problem, but yeah, I'll put timestamps below so you can skip this part, but just be careful. Space Hag completely breaks the physics of the game and shoots a survivor so fast on a random direction that for us it looks like a teleport. This glitch has been in the game for a long time, and I am honestly scared that this video might popularize it and thus behavior fixes it. But anyways, let me show you how to perform this glitch. What you need is 2 players. One of you will be Hag with the add-on Scarred Hand. This add-on adds collision to your Hag traps, which will be needed to perform this glitch. The second step you need is to select a map where there is a drop-off, not too big and not too small, so you can position your survivor exactly in the middle of this Hag trap. You can use the Cracked Turtle Egg add-on to increase the duration of your trap if so you require. I can share some spots on my Discord if you need them, but my personal favorite is the stairs next to the gallows in the Duck Saloon. It's easy to come back if you miss it on the first try. If you perform this glitch right, 3 things can happen. One of the most common things that can happen is you completely shooting horizontally somewhere. Your survivor will appear like they teleported to that part of the map. The second thing that can happen, and one of the rarest things and possibly the best, is that your survivor will be shot up in the sky and they will start falling back to the ground. You can control the fall of the survivor to fall into a specific building or outside of the map. And yes, this is how I got outside of Area of Crows as a survivor. So this was my secret, and thank you guys for your amazing support on that video. The third thing that can happen, and the most common one, is the survivor will be shot up to the sky so ridiculously fast that this will occur. Your survivor will disappear completely, along with the item drop sound effect if you have one. You will hear ambient sounds, and no matter how much you wait, you will never go back to the ground. If you press escape, sometimes you will appear on a place called Unknown Place. One time, I got shot up so far away, I ended up in the UK. But what does the killer see whenever this happens? Well, for some odd reason, whenever you vanish from the match, the killer sees that you completely died, and all 3 of the hook stages will be added to the match. But you didn't DC at any moment, you are still there. If you trigger the endgame early, then you can wait for it to end completely, but then this happens. As you can see, the game is already over, but it still continues. The game does not know what to do, because it cannot sacrifice you to the entity. You already escaped. If the killer disconnects from the match, the survivor will go back to the lobby like normal. So what is happening to the game when you vanish? Why does it appear like you are fully sacrificed to the killer? Why cannot you die once this happens? And most important of all, is this linked to the third way to escape the trial in any way? Well, I personally think it could be part of it. What if there was supposed to be a trigger event for a survivor to escape from the sky? After all, the exit gates are just an event zone trigger to confirm that you escaped the trial. Did you know that the end of the match screen, where the survivors are infinitely running, is a part of the match? If you have a camera hack, you can see the trial even after you ended the game. Sometimes for the trapper, you could see the traps from the endgame lobby as well. What if there was a plan in the game to have a trigger for a survivor to escape through the sky? And maybe with this glitch, We're forcing the game to trigger this sequence, but since it's not complete, there is no trigger for the next step, actually escaping, showing the survivor the in-game lobby. What if the devs thought that nobody would ever find this and they simply didn't bother? All of this falls into the what if, and all of this is because it's not confirmed. Nobody knows the solution to this mystery. Nobody ever knows if there is a third way to escape, besides the developers themselves. This mystery is a completely open for any person watching this video. Maybe you believe my evidence and think that it was a fake rumor. Maybe you believe my second theory and that there is a way to escape but it's not programmed. Maybe you believe that there is an actual way to escape that nobody has found yet, but is in the game. And maybe you're going to comment, the third way of escaping a trial is uninstalling the game. Thank you for watching this vid. I would love to see your comments and theories about this topic. And remember, if you have any idea about how to solve this mystery, consider joining my Discord and share your findings. Also, if you're still on this video and haven't left yet, you are either already part of my Discord or you really enjoyed this vid. So if this was your first time, check out my channel. All of my videos are the same quality as this one. Have a nice day.